Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Florin Lungu, and I'm so delighted you join us on another episode of the Entrepreneurial Mindset Show. Today, we're going to look at something that I call the likable expert, and this is not something that I came up with. This, something that I learned from one of my mentors, and it's a description of someone that really knows what they're talking about, but it's not a guru, right? We're not talking about someone that feels that they know it all, that they have all the answers. It's more of a someone being on a journey, but knowing knowing a little bit more than we know, and someone that will really want to learn from. So one of the likable experts that I know in my life, it's Paul Martinelli. He's been my mentor for now more than 7 years, and he is this kind of approachable person that he's sharp. He knows what he's talking about. He has the results, but he's also he's abundant with sharing his knowledge, right? Because if you think about that, knowledge in today's world, it's almost free, right? Because if knowledge would change people's life, as he says, it will cost you to go to the library, it will cost you to Google. Knowledge itself, that doesn't change our life, but how we use knowledge and how we apply knowledge, the application of knowledge changes our lives. And as usual, I have some slides here, and we will look at that in a moment. So the first thing that when we look at the likable expert, right? So what it's a likable expert mindset, right? I think the first thing we need to do is to look again at mindset. What does what is mindset? So if you think about mindset, what mindset is, it should work that way. All right. So what mindset is? Mindset, it's a set of attitudes, beliefs, expectations about a situation or an outcome. And so isn't that true that when we have a certain expectation, a certain attitude towards a certain situation, that the outcome that I'm gonna get from that situation will be different? And so although we most of us agree, most people would agree that that to be true, that when you approach a certain situation with a different mindset, you might have different results. We don't see why it's important to control our minds. We don't see why it's important to be intentional with our mindset. And so when we think about attitudes, beliefs, expectations, one thing that comes to mind when we think about that is what attitudes are, right? So attitude is the composite of my thoughts, my feelings, and the action I take. And if you think about that, isn't that true that what I think, it's expressed in the way I feel and my feelings, and then the feelings that I have, the way I feel influences the action that I take, right? And so if you think about that, what happens is that when we don't approach a situation with the right attitude, with the right mindset, what happens is that the results that we're getting are not exactly those that we want. So, what does it mean to have this likable expert? Because that's actually the question, right? Today we're talking about being the likable expert. What does it mean to be a likable expert? Well, what does it mean to be a likable expert is to moving from this kind of guru, right? Moving from being a guru to being the enthusiastic, approachable, sharp student, right? So this is not about us becoming a know-it-all, becoming this mentor that people want to have in their lives that has all the answers. Because it's almost impossible for you and I to be a mentor in someone's life and have all the answers in all areas that they need help with, right? So that's why we talk about an expert. So what an expert is, someone that has specific knowledge in a quite narrow area, if you like. This is when people specialize, right? Rather than having a broad, generalized knowledge, you have more specialized knowledge, right? And you know becoming an expert, it's a journey, right? So when we don't say that people can become an expert just like you have a degree, but someone that is an expert in the field, it's someone that is a student, right? This is what, look at this quote by Dennis Waitley. He says that we should never become so much of an expert that we stop gaining expertise, right? That we should view life as a continued learning experience. And I truly believe that. This is one of my core values, right? And if you ask any expert, right? If you ask an expert, you would see that the more the person knows about the area of their expertise, the more they realize that they don't know, right? This is true. I found this to be true with any topic, any subject. Like the more I learn about a topic or a subject, the more I realize that I don't know that subject that well, right? And so that's why there's the difference there. So because we all know, I believe we all know these kind of people that are really sharp and they're really good in an area. But the challenge is that no one can work with them, right? So nothing is worse for any team or any company to hire an expert that has a really um, bad attitude, if you like, for you know i- in the lack of a better word, let's say bad attitude. But what we mean is that they feel they know it all. They come in with all the answers, and so okay, who wants to be told, right? People don't want to be told. People want to learn, but they don't want to be told. So if we go see an expert, we don't want to be told all of those answers. We don't want to go to a guru. Because what the challenge is, like, when we are told, and we might not feel that that's true for me. Because if someone tells me, Florian, you should be doing this or you should be doing that, what happens is, if I don't fully believe that that's the right solution for me, although they are an expert, say, well, but that works for you, but you don't understand. My situation is different. You don't understand. I'm from Romania. You don't understand. I don't have a network in Sweden. You don't understand. I don't speak the language. So if I'm not able to get answer for all of those you don't understand, what happens is I will not really fully apply in whatever advice I get. And so what the solution is that we should not. So if you are in the informational technology business, if you are selling expertise, if you are in any way providing expertise, right? You want to become a likable expert. And there is a big difference between being a guru, a know-it-all person, and a likable expert. So the first difference that we see between someone which is a guru and someone which is a likable expert, we look, the first thing is that their approach to learning, right? A guru has this attitude of, we know it, I know it all, right? And there's nothing can teach me, and then come to me for answers. While a likable expert says, well, no, I'm learning, right? And this is, again, when we communicate our value, it's a difference between saying, this is what I know, right? Or this is what I'm learning, right? There's a big difference. When my teachers told me, oh, this is just the way it is, and I ask, why is that? Because that's the way it is. And if I come with a different answer to an algebra problem or a geometry problem, I say, well, no, it's only one answer. This is the right answer. And if it's not the right answer, then you don't pass the grade, right? And so we don't want that. We don't want to be that way. We want to be approachable. We want to be a likable expert. The difference, again, between a guru is that they believe they arrived, that they know it all, there is nothing for them to learn. Well, and while a likable expert, it's someone with just a few steps ahead. And isn't that true that when I found that when there is a too big of a gap between where we are and where this expert or the person or the mentor or that we're hiring, or we want their help, if they are 100 steps ahead of us, this gap will be too big for me to really even try what they suggest I should try, because I don't really believe this will work for me. It might work for them. They're up there, they arrive, but not for me, not for me down there. So if someone, it's a likable expert, they have this expertise, they're just a few steps ahead of us. That's the right mindset. Even if they know much more, they could always play, and instead of being here at the top and say, come to me, come to the guru, they'll say, well, let me come down to you and take you by the hand and let's climb together. That's the kind of mindset that we want to to develop. So this is the kind of people that we want to learn from, not those kind of gurus that they know it all. Okay, let's look at the next one here. So the next one will be that you know there is a difference between telling people what to do and guiding people to a solution. Again, is this idea of people want to learn, but they don't want to be told, right? They don't want to be told. They want to learn. They want to discover it by themselves if they could, but they don't want to be told, right? And so, what's the next one, right? Let's look at a few more. So they instead of telling you how much they know, they show you how much they know. There's a big difference there. I'm telling you how much I know, or I'm showing you by the question that I'm asking you, by the way I'm, getting your problem. I understand where you are, and it's another way of showing it to people rather than telling. Oh, I know it. I've been there. I've been there. And the difference is like, what people pay for, right? The first kind of category, they charge you for their experience and expertise. Well, the likable expert will charge you for your results, right? They would guarantee almost your results because they're focused on you rather than being focused on themselves. And that was kind of the last piece here, right? So a guru would focus on themselves. It's about them. Come to the guru, come to me, let me tell you, rather than focusing on other people and helping them get to their answer. So there's a big difference there, but kind of the theme, if you like, in all of these differences is that the difference between an expert and a likable expert is actually their attitude, and its attitude towards people. And on the same team, think about that. Often, when someone really knows what they're talking about, um, they also noticing the things that do not happen, right? So this is what Malcolm Gladwell shares in his book Blink. He analyzes that we can make decision in a blink of an eye, and that sometimes someone having an expertise, it's also noticing the things that do not happen, reading the room. And if you go to a guru with a question, and they just answer that question, it might be that they are not really an expert, and they don't see what's the question behind the question, right? So anytime someone comes with a challenge to a coaching session, I always take the time to go through a set of questions, because there's always, 99% of the time, there's always something behind the question, right? So there's a difference between what people want, what they need, and then kind of the how they formulate the question. So if we don't have this view to look at what didn't happen, or what they didn't told you, what is missing in here, then we're not really an expert, right? But the whole idea is here to not try to become this guru, but this approachable, enthusiastic, likable expert, right? And so, how can we develop this, likable expert mindset? Let's look at some of the qualities of a likable expert, right? So, the first quality of someone who is a likable expert, and we can become one, is their sharp as attack. I mean, they're on the ball. You feel that the moment that they answer the phone, they they're think about when you go to see an expert, and I think an expert that most of us can resonate with, and have a maybe some kind of experience with, is seeing a lawyer or seeing a doctor, right? When you go see a doctor, right? um you don't want them to be like, like wishy-washy. You don't want them to joke with you. You don't want them to come in with a cup of coffee and their sandwich or the donut, and then joke around. No, when you go and see a doctor, you want them to be sharp as a tack. You don't want them to you know to guess about the solution to your problem, right? So they're sharp. They are on the ball. They know what they're talking about, and you just feel that, right? They don't have to tell you, but you feel that they, by the question they're asking, you know that they know that they know, right? And so that's one of the qualities, be sharp as a tack, right? This is how we can develop this this likable expert, right? So we're an expert, they're an expert. They value their time, so that's why we don't lose time. When you go see a lawyer, you don't want them to talk about the weather, the price of tea in China, the oil price, the COVID-19, and all of those things, right? That's not what you're paying for. What you go there, right? So they have to be sharp as a tack, right? They have to be enthusiastic, right? They have to be enthusiastic about what it is that they have to offer to you, right? So think about that. In my industry, at least, when we have a program, we have a solution. I mean, I have to be enthusiastic that this is going to help you. This is going to, solve your problem. If I'm not enthusiastic about what I'm going to offer to you, I mean, uh, something must be wrong, right? But we're not talking about that over the top enthusiasm. We don't talk about someone all the time, like, take this, or this is what I found. No, it's like, that my mentors call that, bottle enthusiasm, right? Like, you're just gonna go out and kind of, now you're channeling that energy. You cannot wait to share this with you. I have this really new treatment. I have this, new course, new program. I cannot wait to share this with you. It's gonna help you, right? The next thing is they're approachable. This is the difference between the biggest difference between the guru and the likable expert, right? Because they're approachable. They're not come to the guru. You never get on a call with them. They're approachable, right? And it's so much value in today's world to be approachable. And when someone like that, you know you know how much their time costs, right? You know how much their time is. And when they're approachable and they're available, it says a lot. And that's what makes them a likable expert, right? um not being unavailable, although that sometimes might be a strategy, for someone to, raise their prices, not being so available. But there is value in being approachable and available, right? Another thing is that they share knowledge abundantly. What I mean by that is that they're not afraid that, their, kind of their well of knowledge would be dry. They're not afraid, because if they're continuous learner, right? And this is, another one of the qualities, right? If they're a continuous learner, it means that they're always learning new stuff, and they're not afraid of sharing what I know, right? They don't sit on knowledge. They don't hold and withhold knowledge, right? They share abundantly, because they know that they would always create more resources. They will always create, more ways of helping people, right? And so they're not holding on to what they know. And of course, with this one comes the last one, right? Because they need to be a continuous student, right? They need to be always on the game in order for them to always continually, acquiring new knowledge. Like, if you are giving knowledge abundantly, but you're not acquiring new knowledge, and if you're not, you know developing in that area, and developing the understanding of your field, well, that's why some might feel, well, if I give away what I know, if I have this one book, and if I give it away, then, what do I have to fall back on? Yeah, but as we said, knowledge itself, it will not change people's lives, but the way you structure knowledge, the way you put knowledge, the way you share your journey, the way you share your advice, that might change people's life. That has the potential to change people's lives. So in order to be able to be that kind of, to become that kind of likable expert, we need to be a student. If we are a student, we're always learning new skills, and if we're always learning new skills, we're able to give abundantly of that that we have, right? And so kind of a code that really, summarized this very well. It says that even the top experts in the world are, ardent students, right? The day you stop learning, you're definitely not an expert. And I really believe that. Think about that. The day you stop learning, you're not an expert anymore. Even the top experts are students, are continuous students. And that's kind of the key, right? How can we stay, you know, um, just a few steps ahead of the game, right? We don't need to be, you know, um, John Maxwell has this quote. He says that if you are 100 steps ahead, like in the front, you will be a martyr. But if you're just 2 steps ahead, you're a leader. And someone who's taking a lead, but no one is following because he's too far away or she's too far away from the crowd. They're just taking a walk. They're not the leader, right? You don't want to lose people. You don't want to create that gap. You want to stay 1 or 2 steps ahead, and that's enough for you to become that likable expert that people want to learn from. All right, so that was what I wanted to share with you today on the likable expert. This video is a little bit shorter than the other ones, and then it's again, it's a mindset. It's a thinking, right? It's much more an attitude, a mindset than it is a skill, right? Next week, we're going to look at another one of the entrepreneurial mindsets. We're going to look at the prosperous mindset, and we're going to see how can we move from seeing money as the root of all evil to seeing money as happy money, right? And so I look forward to see you again next Monday at 5 p.m. Stockholm time, as usual, 11 a.m. Eastern time in the US if you're based there. And again, thank you for tuning in today. I look forward to see you next week when we're going to talk about the prosperous mindset. Okay? Take care.